Welcome to MV Ranch. This is the home of Mike and Mary, little Henry and Figaro too. Mike,
Has been a beautiful
and
day
this is Mary,
today.
little Henry and Figaro. With today's harvest, I have decided to make some ketchup with my little Tommy toes. And I've washed them off, and now I'm going to take the little tops off and look for any spots on them. Okay, so I added about a 3/4 a cup of white vinegar, and I added about 2 tablespoons of Celtic salt, and just letting it cook let it cook down quite a while. I also added about a teaspoon of the good cinnamon. So I made 4 jars of ketchup. And that first one right there didn't spill all the way to the top, so that's the one I'll use first. But there's my ketchup. Okay, so today I'm going to try to make a Boston butt, and I'm going to be washing this in vinegar and water. I have prepared my baking pan with a little bit of water and liquid smoke in the bottom. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I'm making the rub that's going to go on the top. And I've got chili powder and strawberries seasoning and pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And I'm going to be putting the ketchup sauce, because I had 2 jars that didn't seal very well. I'm going to put that on it. It's got brown sugar and tomatoes and peppers and onions and garlic. It's got just about everything else you would have on top of it anyway, so I just thought I would make it fresh. And I've also added Himalayan salt to my mix, and now I'm going to rub it all over the Boston butt and put it in the roasting pan. So this is what the ketchup looked like that I made yesterday, that has the brown sugar, and I used Tommy Toe tomatoes and the peppers and onions and garlic. And I used my Ninja food processor, but it has quite a few seeds in it. Not exactly what I was looking for in a ketchup, but it will work very well on top of the Boston butt. As a point of reference, this is about a 9-pound Boston butt, and this is how much it cost per pound It was $2.68 a pound, $23.53 altogether. And this is what it looks like with my sauce on top of it. Doesn't look that great yet, but it will. It'll marble a lot like a meatloaf does on the top, hopefully. And I'm telling you, shopping for this, I really, if I'd been a 2-year-old, I would have thrown a tantrum over the prices of the meat. But I decided go big or go home. So that's why I thought I can cook this and make pulled pork sandwiches and make it last quite a long time for that amount of money. So when I got to the checkout, it didn't make it any better that the cashier said, "Woo, that's a beast." So, because, you know, kind of makes you feel bad when you see other people in line that are not buying that many items, and I know that there is a struggle, so I am very aware. After 4 hours, I took the aluminum foil off, and I've cooked it for another hour and a half, and I'm going to cook it for another hour, and then it will be done. Okay, after that, I did cover it up and let it set after I took it out of the oven for, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so. And as you can see, it still has some of the good juices down in the bottom, and I have pulled it apart. I'm more than likely going to put some of the juices from the bottom and add some barbecue sauce to it to make sandwiches and put the rest of it up for later on. So that's my plan. If I can keep Mike out of it.
Yeah. Good.
And the broccoli and the cauliflower and the peas, and you can tell something has been eating on the peas. It's not good. So I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see what it is. Another worm of some sort. And my cilantro came up. And the gourds are looking beautiful. And you can tell the marigolds are a splendor of blooms right now. And I'm coming down to the end of my okra, but it's still blooming and still putting on. The zinnias have really been hit hard with all of the sunshine and heat that we've had. I've got new little marigolds in this bed, and these are cabbages. So marigolds and cabbage. I think the marigolds are actually helping these cabbage to not get eaten by the bugs, so that's good. And then I've got a few Brussels sprout plants that have come up. I've got a couple of marigolds with that. Of course, the orange ones are still doing really good. The tomatoes and the peppers are still putting on. Peppers. Tomatoes they're winding down. The basil, I think I'm just going to let it go to bloom this time and let it finish up. You can tell that something ate my turnip. I had 2 turnips that survived, and now this one's been getting eaten. My carrots did not come up. My sad little pumpkin didn't make it. Those zinnias are amazing. I did have a surprise with the sunflowers. You can tell sunflower seeds are, I'm gonna cut these, and then I'm gonna let them dry out in the house or on the porch, because you can tell that something's been gnawing on it. When I looked in here this morning, I saw my pineapple is starting to sprout. I thought that was awesome, because I put that in there when I first planted this sunflower. And we ate one of the watermelon off the watermelon vine. I'm gonna have to pick that one, this big one. And it was so pretty. So pretty. I wasn't expecting it to be anything, but it did. It worked. You can see the yellow marigolds. They're just a little bit different type. So pretty. It's time to visit the garden. We haven't seen it in the past few days. I got through watering it today, so. And these are the turnips, which I think are doing so very good. The only problem is I still see some insect holes that I'm not very happy about. I'm not really sure what to do about it, because I really don't want to put 7 dust on it. And I've got broccoli and cauliflower, and my poor peas. I've got some more planted, but one of the worms. I don't know if it was an army worm. Got a hold of it, chewed it up. So here is the cilantro. And the gourds are doing fantastic. Just amazing. And the marigolds that I replanted are doing really good. I've got cabbage. This is all cabbage. You can tell the insects were really working on it. So I put some of my marigold buds on it to see if I can keep the insects away from it. And these are Brussels sprouts. And I grew some Brussels sprouts in our Fairfax home. So I learned a little bit about them then, but I still am no pro. And the basil's coming back out after I trimmed it and pruned. And my poor little old skeleton of turnips, they're still growing. And I've got beets. The beets are coming up that I planted here. And I had one little cantaloupe that, yeah, figure I was going to try to help me. The zinnias are still doing good. And the marigolds, I am just so impressed with. I just can't hardly stand it. And you can see I have harvested okra. I started harvesting from below and worked my way up. And it just keeps growing taller and taller. So I've still got some harvesting to do. I don't know if that's going to survive the 40-degree weather that we're fixing to have, but I'm gonna find out. But I learned this week that marigolds have a medicinal value, especially for people who have cataracts or eye trouble, especially the yellow ones. The yellow ones have a substance in them. I can't name it. I'm sorry. It starts with L. I get it wrong every time I try to say it, but it has something in there that's really good, kind of like the carotene from carrots. And so I'm working on a tincture, and I've used olive oil and marigold petals. It's just the flower. It's not the stems or the leaves. And so I'm going to try to make a salve to use for skin problems like eczema or dry patches. And also hopefully it will help Mike's eyes, because he does have cataracts that I'm trying to figure out ways that he won't have to have cataract surgery, because I really don't want him getting worse. But there is the pineapple. It's still growing. And the sunflowers, I've started, one of them had completely dried out, so I've started saving some of the seeds. I'm waiting for this big old Mama Jamba, but it's not quite ready yet. I'm going to let it dry out just a little bit more before I try to harvest. And I've got shards planted in this one. Garlic chive, not shards, but chives, garlic chives. I do not see them coming up yet. And my poor little old tomatoes have gotten so heavy that they have just like lava. That's what I like to think of. I have gotten so many tomatoes off those tomato plants, and I've made salsa and barbecue sauce, and I tried to make ketchup. So it has been a great supplier for this whole summer. And my beautiful zinnias, you can tell from when it was really, really dry to now that it is getting cooler again, they're starting to brighten up again. And the cones on these things are massive. I've never grown any zinnias that have gotten this big before. And the peppers have outdone themselves, and I still got peppers on there that I can harvest. I can't keep up with them. So I'm really happy about these, especially these little baby bell peppers. They're so good, always so fresh. And I went and got some green tomatoes. Forgot that I had some green tomatoes of my own that I could have used, but anyway, so that is the fall garden so far. Okay, so I've been on a canning fever today. And I went to the Knoll with my mother-in-law, and I got fresh green tomatoes, and I've made 13 jars of fresh tomato relish. This is the first time I've ever done any of these. And then my sister and I went to Lawrence Gardens. They have beautiful mums, and they have a store with all kinds of things for canning and fresh vegetables and all kinds of things. And so I got, I don't know, about 5 pounds or more of fresh tomatoes. And so this is my salsa that I'm making. And by the way, I used the same recipe that is in the Cooking with the Zimmermans. And I love it because she does it the old way and leaves the seeds and the skins and all that in there. And I just think it's better for you. And then I used the recipe that Whippoorwill Hollow had, and I'm using the juice from those tomatoes, and I'm canning. Hopefully that'll make at least a little half pint jar of juice. So that is where I'm at today. Every year I do a Christmas in July. This year it is a kind of like a Christmas in September.
Look at that baby deer. So sweet.
made up a concoction of garlic powder and water because, as you can see, the turnips and some of the other plants are being eaten by aphids, so I'm going to try to save them. Well, this is September the 10th, so this is debate night. And then there's also Hurricane Francine coming our way. We're hoping that we get some of that rain. We don't know. Forecasts are varying, so we anywhere from an inch to 2 or 3 inches. So, because we sure do need it. You can tell from behind me that things are so very dry. So, Henry, who do you think is going to win this debate tonight? Yeah, that's what I thought. We're having our garage doors on both the shed and the shop worked on because one of the big doors on the shop has got a bent roller, and so it's under warranty, so that's good. But the other shop, the little shed up there, the garage door is not working, and so we're going to get that fixed along with the other one. Okay, so tonight I'm going to make a pan pizza using the recipe on All Recipes called the Easy Pizza Dough, and it really is. I mean, it had bread flour and a teaspoon of salt and a package of dry yeast and about a cup of warm water. I let the yeast and a teaspoon of sugar. I'll let that kind of set in the warm water and let the yeast rise, and then I put the bread flour and salt and 2 tablespoons of really good olive oil. This is the one I like. And made this dough, and I'm gonna make pepperoni and sweet sausage. And I've got the oven set at 425 degrees with my new big cast iron pan with oil in it, and we're gonna see what I can do. I've got that in the oven. I'm gonna let it cook for just a couple of minutes and get the sauce ready. A chance to use some of my freshly canned pasta sauce, and in that I put some oregano, salt, pepper, garlic, and mushrooms already. Added just a little bit of Parmesan cheese to it. With mozzarella cheese on top. And now I'm going to put it back in the oven and on 350 this time, and I'm going to watch it for the next 10 minutes or so. This is what it looks like before Francine. Beautiful sunset. This is what's left of Hurricane Katrina that brought us some beautiful, beautiful rain. We needed it so much. Okay, so this is the morning after Hurricane Francine hit, so we've still got some bands of rain. And the eye of the storm is a few miles away, but we got maybe 2 inches of rain, and you can tell that things have already started kind of greening up a little bit, so it was very much needed. We're very thankful. Very close to Spring River in Hardy, Arkansas. So beautiful. So I want to come visit, but it's not open right now. I have to come back from 4 to 9 p.m. during the weekdays.